out of the 100 odd two-wheelers which just went by in the past 5 minutes, 70 of them were scooters. So there's no denying the fact the scooter market is increasing at a rapid pace, and now it's the time for 125cc scooters because there's a lot more demand for them. That's why we are doing an unconventional comparison between Honda's flagship scooter, the Activa 125, and Aprilia's entry-level scooter, the Storm 125. But before I get going, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the MotorBeam channel. The design difference between both these scooters is absolutely staggering. This one has a more corporate look. This scooter is going to office. This one is definitely more funky because this scooter is going to college. The Activa 125 has a gloss paint job, has plenty of chrome as well, and is a metal body. Meanwhile, the Aprilia has a matte color and is a plastic body. Whereas the Activa just blends in and the Aprilia, well, it just stands out. If I talk about wheel to body ratio, the Aprilia does not justify itself to be a scooter, it's more like a motorcycle. Meanwhile, the Activa 125 definitely comes across as a conventional scooter in the real sense. So while the Aprilia comes across as the more funky looking scooter here, unfortunately, it has the technology from the 1980s. It doesn't get any LEDs whatsoever. Meanwhile, the Activa 125 gets LED DRLs as well as LEDs for the headlights. Unfortunately, neither of the scooters get LEDs for the tail light. Meanwhile, the Aprilia also falls back in terms of instrument cluster. It's a very basic all analog console which only shows you the speedometer, the odometer, and yes, a fuel meter. That's about it. Meanwhile, the Activa 125 is modern in the real sense. It gets an analog digital cluster with a lot more information than you would imagine, right from a real-time mileage indicator, a distance to empty, as well as a clock. It also gets a side stand indicator, something which would have done well for the youth. The side stand on the Activa 125 also works as an engine kill switch because once you put the side stand down, it kills the engine. It also gets a stop-start system, which is again a unique feature. The overall quality of the Activa is much superior than the one we see on the Aprilia Storm 125. Somehow, there are some hard plastics and not so well-fitted panels on this scooter. And it's just not that. The Activa is even the more practical scooter here. You've got plenty of storage spaces, the under-seat storage is bigger, and there's also an external fuel filler lid here. Although the Aprilia Storm 125 has a slightly bigger fuel tank capacity. But in terms of practicality, the Activa 125 is just so much superior. It not only has the bigger footboard area, it also has the better rear view mirrors too. The Activa 125 is also the more comfortable scooter. It has a lower seat height which makes it appeal to a larger audience base in the Indian market. However, the Aprilia is slightly taller, which will appeal to taller riders. The Aprilia is a thinner scooter which actually makes it easier for the pillion to seat. Meanwhile, on the Activa, one really has to stretch a bit more. But overall pillion comfort and rider comfort is better on the Activa 125. Both of these scooters displays 124cc in capacity, but the Aprilia is slightly more powerful and the Honda is slightly more torquey. In terms of overall performance, the Aprilia has it going for it because it has the better low-end punch here as well as a better top-end too. But the Activa has a better mid-range. Overall refinement is just so much superior on the Honda. It just feels so much more silent as well as less vibrating than the Aprilia Storm 125. Although the Activa 125 is slightly heavier here, it is the more fuel-efficient scooter because of the BS6 engine which it has. The Activa 125 returns at least 5 km per litre more fuel efficiency than the Aprilia Storm 125. Now most of you would think that the Aprilia, being a sportier scooter, would be the better sounding as well. Unfortunately, that is not the case. The overall sound from the exhaust is a bit rattly. Meanwhile, the Activa is just so much more smoother, and yes, it does sound better as well. scooters are poles apart in terms of the suspension setup. The Honda is very softly sprung. The Aprilia is very stiffly sprung. Naturally, the ride quality on the Activa 125 is far superior. Meanwhile, the Aprilia has far superior riding dynamics. It's just so much eager around the corners and inspires a lot more confidence when compared to the Activa 125. While both the scooters get a 12-inch front wheel, the Aprilia also gets a 12-inch rear. The Activa makes do with a 10-inch. The rubber is thicker on the Aprilia Storm 125 and it just has the better grip on offer. In fact, the tire compound is just so much more superior on the Aprilia, which gives it so much more grip than the Activa. In terms of high-speed stability, the Aprilia is definitely better. It also actually does a high speed because the Activa tops out at 90 km per hour. This will easily cross the triple-digit number. Both these scooters get a link braking system. However, Honda has really pioneered it. The braking performance of the Activa 125 is just so much more superior because you do get the option of a front disc, which shockingly, surprisingly and even unfortunately is missing on the Aprilia Storm 125. So while the Activa 125 has the superior brakes with more feel and feedback, the Aprilia falls a lot short in this regard. The Aprilia Storm 125 is only available in one variant. The Activa 125 can be had in 3 variants, which means that there is an Activa 125 for almost every price bracket out there. But this is the more expensive scooter, there is no denying the fact. But it is also the more superior scooter. It's more comfortable, it's more refined and has a lot more tech than the youngster Aprilia Storm 125. To sum it up, I would say that if you're going to college, pick the Aprilia Storm 125. But if you're going to office, well, the Activa 125 is the right choice. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that is the like button, and also subscribe to the MotorBeam channel.